Hello everyone, this is the GepRC MX3 Sparrow. Featuring an F3 flight controller, GepRC branded 1408 3500 kV motors, GepRC branded 3042 tri-blade props, run can Swift, 28 amp 4-in-1 ESC, XT30 for your battery connection, bottom plate's a little over 3 millimeters, the aluminum housing a little over 4 millimeters, motor post looks like it's 138 millimeters. It's a true X. It comes with at least 5 complete sets of props. I have one extra. Comes with 2 battery straps. I broke one. OSD controller to configure your run cam. Stickers! In a pretty nice case with the Airblade battery strap. It weighs 148.17 grams. I flew it with Tattoo 650 milliamp 4S batteries. That weighs 68.64 grams. So the full flight we had there wasn't very clean, but I wanted to show you that because I just thought it was funny how it hit that post and just kind of leveled out. I couldn't have flown away from that well. I couldn't have flown very well away from that because one prop was severely bent down. It would still rotate, but it was probably going to vibrate the sin out of this thing. Something I didn't mention in the quick specs is it does have a beeper, but it doesn't come secured. I added some tape right in here. It seemed like a pretty good little nook to tuck the beeper into, and that fits quite well. They are using a nice stack here, the GepRC. This is the, I believe, the F28, which includes the VTX on it, and it has a push button with an LED display. I appreciate the LED display because if you've been around here, you know I've struggled with the VTXs that just have the flashing sequences. That's kind of rough on me. I'm not able to operate those very well. I do wish they had an OSD in here. I'm not a fan of the RunCam OSD. I know they've added that feature, but I don't care for it all that much. It just feels like dumb technology included in the camera, whereas we have the Betaflight OSD that at almost no cost you could have the same board and you could have a much smarter technology built into your OSD, or if you don't want an OSD at all, with one click of the mouse it would go away. You see here that I've got a couple of these are like those little battery gummies, and I just put those on there because I did fly it in an open field with a Mobius Mini on there. You could get away with putting a GoPro on there, but GoPros are what, 78 or 70, maybe even 80 grams. And this thing already kind of flies like it's heavier than it is. And so I think if you put a GoPro on it, it'll be manageable, but it's going to test your skill set. And you're going to have to match your angle or rig up something to create an angle or decrease the angle depending upon where you have your camera. And speaking of camera, let me loosen this. So something that is curious, there's a little bit of a ridge on the inside, or flange on the inside of this frame, and you can see our camera is inside of that. Hopefully you can see that. So our ability to decrease camera angle is limited, and the only way I can see of getting that camera, let's say you wanted to start out and just kind of fly at a lower angle. I do like they put all the numbers on here, that's pretty cool. But say you wanted to be at like 20 degrees or something like that, you're going to have to shave the camera down in order to get that 20 degrees. And I don't even know if you can get to it with the camera. Eventually the PCB from the camera might hit in that ridge too, I'm just not certain. But you can see on this side, see that little knot? Let me get my pointer again. This is where a screw goes in from the back, and you can shave this down a fair bit. I've done that in some other machines. But still, if you're buying an RTF, is that what you want to do? Is that what you to get the camera tilted, do you want to shave that down in order to get less? I think freestyle pilots, people who like to do a lot of freestyle, especially fly with slightly less camera angle. That's not true for all. That's just, kind of a generality what I'm picking up. I know that there are probably some like Matty Stunts who fly with, almost a 90-degree camera angle. So being able to change your camera angle is nice because they have that built in, but unfortunately this aluminum housing makes us have to modify that in order to accomplish the camera angle that you may want. Yeah, it looks like you can go up about as far as you can until it, if you wanted a Matty Stunts, we hit down here at the lower part, so a little bit of a design flaw there. It seems as though maybe they should have made some sort of spacer in here, but then of course it's going to get bigger because the entire stack, or maybe they could have inverted this to where the ridge would have been on the outside rather than on the inside, and that would have maybe given us some camera angle. The knurling on these standoffs I do really like, and I use that to my advantage here. You can see I've got some prop strikes on my antenna, and so in order to protect that, I used a little zip tie on here. This originally came with an FrSky XM Plus radio, but I started having problems with FrSky protocols. It has nothing to do with what this shipped with. I put it on my Taranis QX7 and it flew just fine. I just have a difficult time flying with that QX7. It's just too wide for me, so I put on a Spectrum so I could fly with the radio I'm most comfortable with. It's a very neat and tidy build. They've really covered all their bases to make this as polished as you might find elsewhere. There's really not too much to complain about. They used a gummy down here, although I'm not a huge fan of these things. I just use Duralock all the time. But again, this didn't come with an air blade strap. I put that on there after breaking the other one. And I did crash a lot, just as I always do. I think this will stand up to a lot of crashes, but I think it's straight line fast. This isn't an agile 3-inch. It doesn't fly as well. I have another one sitting here on my desk that is essentially the same dimensions with a different frame and a little bit lighter, that is much more agile, and I would say probably even more straight line fast. But when this thing gets ahead of steam, it does really, really move. There's no doubt about that. But typically with a 3-incher, don't we want something that's very agile and light and maneuverable? We can take it to a playground and zoom around all the little stuff there, or we could take it to a forest and go in and out of the trees, stuff like that. But this machine does fly well. And I can't remember if this one came pre-tuned or not. If it came pre-tuned, I forget, I apologize. But I'll put the PIDs on screen here so you can have the PIDs. Even if they came pre-tuned and I've still, with the stock PIDs, you'll see them on screen so you can recover if you need to. You can always flash to a newer edition of Betaflight. It came stock with that, like I said, that FrSky XM Plus, and it had these two posts that came out of here are tubes, and it's actually a U, and they cut notches in the side to run the antenna through, and it had a couple of caps on top. That broke right away. That didn't last long. It was actually kind of a fussy thing to get out of there. I ended up having to get my little snips in here and make sure I didn't cut the antennas. Don't plan on that lasting very long. You're probably going to have to go to something zip tie-like in order to keep your antennas coming out and safe. With its straight line speed, maybe something like this could compete with larger quads on a bigger track. I'm just not certain. I'm not really a person who goes to races. I like to fly a little bit in that racing style. Generally, I just like to fly. But overall, I can't complain about this stuff. The price point, $250. It's the fit and finish is very, very good. They've covered a lot of things, but $250 good, I'm just not sure about. but at the very least, unlike some of the machines I've had here on the channel here recently, it'll be $250 that will be spent on a machine that can fly well, unlike some of those other products that I've seen come across this desk where they were $250 and they didn't fly either at all or didn't fly well. But this is the GepRC MX3 Sparrow here. It's a good machine. It can fly fast. I'm not sure if it's a traditional 3X flyer or if it's something a little bit between a 3 and a 4 inch sort of flight characteristics, but hopefully the flight video gave you a little bit of a laugh and a little bit of an idea of how this machine flies. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, leave those in the section down below. I'll put a link to this from GearBest in that description down below as well if you care to check it out. I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.